Hi, this is Homeschooling with Regina Chaley Academy. Homeschooling tip number 2, follow a schedule. There are some things I recommend you do before you start your homeschool day. We want our homeschool lesson time to be a focused time with as few interruptions as possible. So I have some special rules just for our homeschool days. First, my children have to make their beds, then get dressed, then do chores, all before we start our homeschool day. Make your beds. Even young children can make their own bed. I make this very easy for my children by keeping it simple. Having a simple job to do contributes to the family community and brings order and helps prepare young children to follow a schedule. Even a child as young as 4 years old can make their own bed, especially if you leave the flat sheet off, then all they have to do is pull up their comforter. Keep it simple and make it easy for young children to contribute to family life. And then require them to get dressed. Sometimes homeschoolers like to do their lessons in their pajamas. If this works for you, then that's great. I have found that requiring my children to get dressed before we start lessons helps them grow in self-discipline, which is needed in their schoolwork as well. How do I motivate them? My children have to make their beds and get dressed before they come out to eat. Food can be a great motivator, but find out what motivates your children. And do chores. Chores are a great way to allow young children to contribute to family life. Even young children can sweep the patio, water the plants, or bring the laundry into the laundry room. Assign chores so that your more active children, especially little boys, have an outdoor chore to do or some heavy lifting. Heavy chores include mowing the lawn or taking out the trash. Use chore time to encourage self-discipline and also to give some physical activity to your more active children. I always found it a challenge to enforce doing chores at the beginning of the homeschool day. We give our children an allowance for doing chores, and we find this is also a great way to teach them to manage their own money as well. When I've tried putting chore charts on the wall, I could never keep up with them, especially when I had a toddler at my feet. My solution? Printed chore charts that I keep in my homeschool crate. I made these myself, and I have a separate sheet for each child. When the child comes in for lessons at 8:30 in the morning, I hand them the sheet and have them check off with a dry erase marker the chores they've done. Having them written down also helps minimize back and forth arguing over who has which chores, and those days will happen. I keep these laminated in my homeschool crate so that they're always within arm's reach as I start my homeschool day. In our last video, we talked about the importance of being present, and I mentioned to start with prayer. In the Christian homeschool, prayer shows your children in a concrete way that you're starting a special part of your day. It also shows them that your lesson time is important. It's a concrete way of offering our work to God and reminding our children that the Word of God must always be in our minds, on our lips, and in our hearts, just as we show when we're at Mass. At Regina Chaley, we also offer all our work to God by writing JMJ for Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, or AMDG for Ad Majorem Dei Gloriam, which means for the greater glory of God, at the top of all our work. You should remind your children to do this at home too, since it's a constant reminder that our studies, our conversations, and even our struggles and victories are all for His glory. If we start with prayer, then we're inviting God and our Blessed Mother into all our conversations. You will see that grace will abound in your homeschool if you start with prayer. You'll find, too, that in the back of the Baltimore Catechism, there's a great morning offering, and that's what my family likes to use. Next, plan to start with the subject that takes the most time. Usually, this is math. Math is best to do first thing. It's a very black and white subject, it takes the most time, and it gives your children a great sense of accomplishment. Students at Regina Chaley in 6th to 8th grade will typically spend about 40 minutes on math, and high school students might need 1 to 1.5 hours of math. When your child is done with math, they should give it to you to check, or they should check out the answer key from you so that they can check their work themselves. Remember to keep your answer keys handy in your homeschool crate so you can always be present and ready during lesson time. And breaks. We all need breaks during the homeschool day to keep our focus. Let your children have breaks, but use a timer. This provides a neutral indicator when break time is over. I make break time during homeschool time look a little different from our regular playtime by requiring my children to wear shoes outside. This is just an outward reminder to my children that this is a school day and our break is just temporary. But find out what works for you. Following a schedule will help your child grow in self-discipline and in the virtue of fortitude. Remember, educating your child is the most important thing you're doing right now, and you will be richly rewarded by strong relationships and joy in family life. Stick with it. Thank you for listening. More tips on homeschooling multiple ages coming up soon.